Hi, and welcome back to episode 2 of The Star Report. My second guest is Eva Smith, who is ex-Bottega Veneta PR and communications assistant. Eva started her journey into PR in 2019, where she first began as a PR and communications intern. Like myself, Eva did spend some time fashion adventuring, pursuing other avenues such as styling and buying, but found her passion in PR, resulting in her working for luxury goods company Kering's Bottega Veneta. I first came across Eva on LinkedIn, but through seeing we had mutual contacts and the fact that we were both quite entry-level in our careers, I thought she'd be the perfect guest to bring onto the Star Report. Her journey into the fashion industry and where she currently is within her career is one we can all learn from. In today's episode, myself and Eva will discuss her journey into fashion PR, landing her first internships and how she went about doing this, some of her favourite projects that she's worked on because PR is all about campaigns and public relations, which means lots of cool celebrities, how she landed a dream position as a PR and communications assistant at Bottega Veneta, and of course, the Star Report special of Drab or Fab. I do hope you enjoy this episode and learn from Eva's story as she gives some epic advice. I appreciate every single person who takes the time to listen, and please leave feedback or a review, as I would love to hear what you think. Be sure to follow the podcast at The Star Report for episode updates and our social media at The Star Report on all platforms for fashion fun. Hi Eva, and welcome to The Star Report. Would you like to start by introducing yourself and telling us what it is you do within the fashion industry?
Yeah, of course. So as you previously mentioned, I'm the former PR and communication assistant at Bottega Veneta. It was a great experience, even though it was during COVID. But now I'm back at university in my final year. I study at the University of Southampton in fashion marketing and management, which is quite a broad course in fashion. So you learn a lot. I've got my dissertation coming up, which is kind of scary.
Woohoo!
Literally, have to have my report done for it by next week. So I'm literally craziness being a student again. I've got that. I'll graduate this year and then hopefully dive back into the industry, getting a job somewhere. Don't know where I'll end up, but yeah.
Okay, so for those who don't know what fashion PR and communications is, what is it?
So PR is basically helping a brand have a positive brand reputation, positive image. Everything that comes out of a brand will pass through a press office. You don't want any bad PR for a brand. So yeah, it deals just with getting the brand to have a good reputation and building sort of awareness for the brand for people that might not know in the public and for their own consumers. So it's a very fast-paced industry being in a press office, especially in fashion. But if you are up for the challenge of that, then it's definitely a career that a lot of people enjoy.
Did it take a while for you to decide that was the path that you wanted to pursue, or did you kind of always know? Because that is a very, not a niche one. I feel like when you're in the industry, you know about PR.
Yeah,
but before
sure,
you
but
come
to
into
other
it,
people.
before you come into it, it's not the typical route that people would kind of follow straight away.
I feel like it's not one of those jobs that you wake up when you're 4 years old and you're like, I'm going to be a fashion PR
assistant.
So I feel like yes and no. Like when I was growing up, I always knew that I wanted to be in some sort of creative industry. That didn't have to necessarily be fashion, even though my mum loves luxury, I love luxury. I used to always adore her bags and everything like that.
You know about taking bags from mummy's collection.
Yeah, I literally steal them all now still. So
literally, when Christmas comes and my brother's like, "Yo, what should we get mum?" I'm like, "Get mum this bag." You don't know. I'm plotting how I'm gonna use it. I'm plotting how I'm gonna use it.
I always knew I wanted to be in a creative industry. I looked into maybe going into TV or film or something like that. At sixth form, I studied art, ICT, and sociology. So I didn't do any sort of fashion-y course, I guess, in sixth form. But yeah, I also knew that I wanted to be in the creative industry, but doing something that's business or management or marketing. So I guess PR does come under that umbrella. So when I was looking at uni courses, I found the one I'm at now. So I jumped right into it and yeah.
So it was more when you got to sixth form that you kind of knew it was the more PR side of things that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to be in business. I didn't know probably until my first summer when we interned that PR was the exact job role that I wanted to be in. I knew I wanted to be in marketing, but yeah, so I feel like yes and no. I kind of knew what I wanted to go into, but not the exact role.
So everyone kind of knows that when you're getting your fashion start, you have to intern. Like, I think
Yeah,
it goes
for
without
sure.
saying.
Yeah, literally
Even though there's
so important.
nepotism in the industry, most people do intern, even if it's like they intern with somebody that's like their mum's friend or something like that.
Yeah.
But how did you go about finding your first few internships? Was it easy? Was it hard?
Yeah, for me, to be honest, I didn't find it too difficult. I know some people find it quite stressful finding internships because obviously we know fashion is a super competitive industry. I know all industries do have competitive roles, but fashion is super competitive. So many people
100%.
want to be in it. So my first ever internship at uni, in my first summer, I was ready to get in and learn more that wasn't just sort of in like a lecture theatre,
Yeah.
was at IPR London, and it was a really short internship, and I actually found it on Fashion Worky.
Oh, I love that website.
Yeah, love Fashion Worky so much, and I feel like it just is such a good website. Nearly all my internships that I found online have been through it, so I literally will shout to the rooftops about Fashion Worky. I think it's a great website. So yeah, I found IPR London through that. I was there for like a week or so, and it was really interesting being in like a agency environment, because when I was researching like brands and stuff, I thought maybe if I wanted to work in PR, it would be more like in-house.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really good working in
an
agency.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good environment. Like everyone was like young there, like fun. So yeah,
Oh, that's lucky.
yeah, it
That's
was really good.
lucky.
After that, I was at Tom Ford again for a short period of time. But like I know we were previously speaking about this, like
Yeah.
before today, I think it's really important to do internships, even if they're, well, work experiences, maybe you could call them, even if they're 2-3 days or a week, because
every little helps.
Yeah.
Every little helps. Because you know, I was even just about to ask you when you finished speaking about the IPR thing, how did you go about landing something with nothing on your CV? Like a lot of these requirements, we're saying, yeah, we want you to have previous
Yeah.
PR experience. I always say it's wording. Literally how you sell yourself on the CV
100%.
or resume means
Yeah.
everything. Because when I was getting my first few opportunities, I had nothing on my CV. I think the resume, I think the thing I had maybe was like, I was part of the school paper.
yeah,
But even
mine
that's-
was like a shop assistant or something like that. So
yeah, so you
literally
see,
the
it's
same.
nothing dramatic, but it's like, why do they need to give you a chance when it's so competitive?
Yeah.
They have how many applications?
Yeah.
Why are they choosing you? So I think it's about selling yourself and
Yeah.
wording it in the right way, kind of.
Yeah, 100%. So when I went to IPR, I sent in my CV, and something that I did that I think maybe helped get my CV into the person that was looking to recruit the intern
Yeah.
was merging what their keywords are kind of on their job spec with what the skills I have.
I've heard of this. How do you do that? So I've always heard that, like, if they say they want someone that's like highly proficient in CMS tool of WordPress, so do you now go and put WordPress on your CV? or
Well,
something?
obviously don't copy and paste it, and if it's not true, don't put it in your CV. I feel like it's the main thing to remember.
Learn that
But
the hard way.
yeah, well, but if, for example, they're after someone that's organised, I'm sure once in your life you've been organised. Like, was it leading a team at uni? Was it, I don't know, in a school play, something like that? Like, I'm sure there's a time in your life that you've had to use that skill. So literally get thinking and put it on your CV. So yeah, that's what I did to get at IPR London. Then after those two experiences in my first year summer, I went to Galvan. Galvan I literally love as a brand. I'd never heard of them before.
Me neither. I saw them on Fashion Worky for the first time. I kind of went to go look into them after.
Yeah, so I had never heard of them before, and I absolutely love them now. They're such a nice evening wear company. Their pieces are literally so amazing.
Really nice. Really
Yeah,
elegant.
super, super nice. So yeah, I was there for about 2 months, which was good. So in that summer, I got the experience of being able to intern for a week and like 2 weeks, like small periods of time, but also for 2 months where you get to learn so much more. But I think the only thing with 2-month internships is that you've got everything under your belt by the last week of your 2 months,
Yeah,
and then off you go. Like you finally learn it all and are really confident. Then you've got to go back to uni or change internships or whatever. So
Yeah. So which one do you think you enjoyed the most?
I feel like obviously I liked all 3 of them, and it was great to see in-house versus agency perspective in such a quick amount of time. But I did really enjoy Galvan just because I learned so much there. I was there for a longer period of time, so I got to know the like different
And
departments.
the teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really important. Like when you're interning and things like that, especially when you're interning at smaller companies, because obviously you've worked at huge companies.
Yeah.
When you're interning and working at smaller companies, it's like you can speak more to people that are in the buying team that you wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily be able to encounter if you were at a huger place, because everyone's just so busy. Not saying they're not
Yeah.
busy at smaller places, but it's like you're more likely to have a smaller team, so people are more likely to be more interactive.
Yeah, definitely more like a community feel, I guess. So, yeah, no, I really enjoyed my time there. I learned a lot when I was there, and it was nice because I got to connect to like the New York office and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was a good experience being there. And then after that finished, I came straight back to uni. So, yeah, fun.
This uni thing seems like a damper. It's like you'll have
No.
such an amazing summer that it's
And then
back to uni.
No, to be fair, I loved uni in first and second year so much. I learned so much. Like I said, for my course, it's super broad. So you can do things from styling to merchandising to buying PR, like everything in my course. So I loved it in first and second year, sorry. Now I'm back in third year, and don't get me wrong, I am glad being back, but I'm excited to get into the world of work again.
Yeah.
So I sound like I'm making uni a damper, but I'm not. I loved uni so much, and when I was 18, like all I wanted to do was move away, go to uni. I've literally made my best friends at uni, so it is a good experience too.
No, it's not all bad. So a question I always get asked on this uni note is basically, do you think you needed a degree to do to do the Bottega thing?
Yeah.
Did they care about your degree, or was it more your experiences kind of worked you up to the level that you could actually apply and know you might have a shot?
Yeah, so with certain companies, like I know quite a few luxury companies now, like Tom Ford, Bottega, you have to be a student to intern there. So you have to have it through your uni. Like I got the role myself, but you have to be a actual student, registered to do.
What's
the
that thing called?
internship.
Is it like what's that year when you take a year out?
Like year in employment.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
you have to be a student. So I know for like some companies that has to be like a requirement, I guess. So even if you're the best candidate in the world, like it is a shame because sometimes you have to be at uni or in a college or something.
Yeah.
But then like IPR, I don't think you had to be a student. So if you're a student or not, there's going to be opportunities out there either way for you.
Yeah. So in terms of internships, you said you were at IPR, you said you were at Galvan, you said you were at Tom Ford for a small amount of time. When you came out of those, obviously you went back to school, landing your next internships, was it contacts at these places? Because I always say it's so important that you keep in contact with the people that you've interned with.
Yeah,
no matter if it's like only a few days or if it's like a month, a year, you better keep in contact.
Yeah.
But like, you never know, because I was getting pitched left, right and centre kind of after my internships, because like I'd go to events with the people I was interning with, or they'd be kind of, you know, when you're in an agency, like press days and stuff like that, you need to put things out. You meet people from there. People like, oh yeah, this is our intern, Sharon. Sharon, I'm done in a few months. Like, can I maybe come and intern with you? Was that how you kind of got your next one, or was it more? Did you go looking again?
So for my next ones after that, so when I was at uni, every opportunity that I got, I wanted to intern. So when it was the Christmas period again, I went off and interned. But that internship, again, I got through Fashion Worky. But Galvan, I actually got through, like, word of mouth.
Okay.
And it wasn't through, like, networking at my internship. It actually was through a guest lecturer that came to our uni.
Oh.
And so basically, before I went to IPR London, she was taking us for that semester. And so I went up to her and I was like, hi, like, I know you follow IPR London. I probably sounded like a bit of a stalker.
Oh my gosh, I'm such a stalker. Like, it's so bad. But I feel like there's some sort of flattery in it. Because, you know, it's happened to me. Like, someone's like, I saw you wrote a pice for this. I was like, oh, you know what I do. Like, kind of get big-headed about it. Not too great, but yeah, I do like it. I do kind of like it.
So I went up to her after our, like, session, tutorial thing, whatever we had. And I was like, I see you follow IPL London. This was before my the interview with them, even though I got that through Fashion Worky. And so she was just telling me that she's worked with them previously and stuff. And then after that, when I finished at IPR and Tom Ford, she was like, I have a friend of a friend who works in PR at Galvan. They're looking for an assistant. Do you want to get in contact with them? So that's how I got Galvan. So even though they seem to advertise on like LinkedIn and probably like you said, Fashion Worky, I got that through a connection.
Yeah.
Which was good. But then after that summer, when I went and did buying at Hobbs, that was again through Fashion Worky. So
yeah, I feel like people actually kind of do underestimate the power of networking. working.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. This was a guest lecture. Most people, after they've asked questions in the lecture, they'll just let the woman or the man just walk out,
Yeah, you
keep it
can
moving.
get so many good opportunities, like, from whatever. Like, just always make yourself known, I think, is, like, so key.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they've brought this guest lecturer in because they have experience doing what you're basically studying to kind of do. So, yeah. But I know I was talking to a mentor of mine. Like, when I first kind of started interning, I was messaging everybody and anybody who I could, who would basically take the time to talk to me, basically. And, in terms of confidence, it did really help me build my confidence because now I'd be going places and I'd be, like, able to name drop people. And it's like, oh, you know that? I'm like, yeah, I know that. Like, they know me. But, it was kind of very daunting. Like, after my first internship, I felt so inclined to already be at something else. And it's like when you have that little pause, it's like, oh, no one wants me. Why does no one want me? But I feel like it's really important to remember that, like, one day the people you meet and the experiences that you've gained will actually make you the best candidate for your next internship. Like, it doesn't matter if you've had one and then you might have to stop for, like,
a while.
a little while. They're very competitive. Like, I know I was with a company once. They had a junior design internship going, 300 applicants, one position.
Yeah, super competitive.
And then they have to go through all of those. And I even saw them when they were filtering out resumes. I saw the HR team just filtering out resumes and yeah, we just know it doesn't meet the candidate. Like, when they say things like, in job descriptions, they'll say, do you have this? And you tick it. Like, on Fashion Work especially, it'll be like, do you have a driver's license? Or do you have a degree in something specific? And if you tick it, or if you don't tick it, you can't even send the application in. That's how HR and departments like that have been starting to kind of filter out people. So if they're saying requirements and stuff, yeah, push it. Because I've pushed it before. I've applied for things without a degree. And I've gotten interviews and things like that. But if you know that most of the criteria are not meeting, it's like, always apply because it's always worth a shot.
Yeah, always apply.
But know that they're saying it for a reason because there's going to be people with those things that are going to have the kind of experience that they're asking for. So don't be too discouraged if you're applying for bigger things and they're not kind of working out, because I'm sure you applied to a ton of things and they didn't work out.
Like, so the most ones that I ever applied to, I was actually really lucky when I applied to IPR, because when I was looking for summer internships, I actually only applied to like less than 10, which like isn't that many in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But when I took a year out of uni to work, I had it in my head that I didn't want to come back. I didn't feel like I was ready to come back and do third year of uni.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of grateful for because it was COVID year. So I feel like I would have had to do it at home anyway. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the time that I took out of uni.
Yeah.
But when I was applying to Bottega, even though Bottega was one of the first brands that I applied to, and it was the one that I wanted the most, because I love Kering so much, I really wanted it, I thought, so many people are going to apply to that, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. So I applied to probably over 40 placements, internships, and messaged on LinkedIn, emailed so many people. Like, I literally had a spreadsheet that would go down, like so many HR managers, PR managers, talent teams. So yeah, really competitive, but you just need to put yourself out there.
Yeah, especially because it's such a fast-paced industry. You can come and go like that. Like, we all know designers who have come and been the thing of the minute and then disappeared the week. So I think it's important to always remember that people do remember little things, especially in an industry that you're going to have your double wear Prada moments, that you're going to need that kindness. Like, I remember Fashion Week was the biggest overwhelming thing for me, and I think someone came to me, they're like, oh, you're doing so well, like, for how old you are, you're doing so well. And I was like, those little bits of kindness. When I saw her application to come to the company that I was in February, I kind of just said, oh yeah, just give her an interview. And like, we haven't really looked through her thing like that. I was like, no, but like, she's a nice person, I remember her name. And if I'm remembering her name in a sea of
like
people that have all these accolades, it means that you're doing something right. It means that you can be remembered. Because I'm sure you've had your own kind of moments where they're double wear Prada or like that kindness is making you.
I feel like when you're at the start of your career, the main thing to remember is just be like the best version of yourself. Like,
literally.
Obviously, I was at Bottega for a year. You're not going to be, like, happy and non-stressed every minute for, like, 12 months. Like, you're going to have days where you wake up and you're just like, oh, I just would rather, like, be in bed today or something. But you just need to get up and smile and just, like, get on with your day and be lucky for the opportunity that you've been given.
Yeah, because I feel like it's something that I always try to remember is so many other people would kill to be in your position. I remember I was at a place, I don't think I can say where the place was because it'll just be so, like, bad. You know what I mean? But I was at a place and it's like we were working. I think the deadline was coming and maybe the interns weren't moving fast enough. And she's like, there's people that would kill to be in your place. Like, you can be replaced right now. And it's like, you need to remember, you need to work. You need to work. You need to work. But I think it's just like, in fashion, I feel like it's work hard, play a lot harder.
Yeah.
Because when events come and industry times,
you always get super fun experiences as well. So.
And swag bags. I've had so many swag bags, especially you in PR. You've probably received a lot of cool like little swag bags that you can get when you're going to events and things like that.
Yeah, I went to like another little interning thing. Like literally a few months ago after Bottega, I literally had a summer before I went back to uni, and I was just like getting bored on my own. I was like, I need to do something, even if it's for an internship. So I worked at M&P Models, just like a modelling agency during Fashion Week in September, even though it wasn't as crazy as it usually is because of COVID. They had so many like sponsored bits. So the goodie bag they gave me after, I was like, whoop.
I've received so many luxury shampoos, like from companies I've never heard of, from companies I've never spent that much money on. I'm like, oh, this is, I know why you guys are charging this.
Yeah.
So I know you fashion adventured before you kind of went straight into PR. I always say fashion adventuring is so beneficial. You know, I did it. I've had experiences in kind of every kind of bit of the field. So I know what I love and I know what I find really hard and kind of what I'd steer away from. Talk me through your kind of fashion adventuring.
Yeah. So like I said, when I started before going to uni, I knew I wanted to be in a creative industry. But I'm not like a creative in the way that I can't design, I can't draw.
I cannot draw to save my life.
I can't. Do you know the amount of DMs I get on like Instagram, people that want to come do my course at uni, they're like, I want to do fashion marketing, but I can't draw. I'm like, do not worry, like you don't have to draw a thing.
Wait, you just told me you did art.
No, I did more like photography. And
okay.
Yeah, it came under art. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I cannot, trust me, I literally can't draw.
I did textiles, but it came under art too, so I guess so.
Like, I can do everything except the drawing part.
Yeah.
So I started wanting to be in the creative industry. So in maybe my last year of sixth form, my mum was in contact with someone and they needed someone to come and shadow someone at Fred Styling for 2 days. So I went and did that, and that's when I was like, okay, fashion is like what I want to be in now. Like that confirmed it before I even went and did fashion marketing at uni.
What a place to shadow. Thread Styling. That's where you shadowed. That's actually really lucky.
Yeah, it was like really, really, really good experience. And then so I did that. Did my summer, sort of crazy summer with all my free internships at like Galvan and everything. Went back to uni, and then, like I said, in the December, I went to Hobbs, which again I found through Fashion Worky. And when I was at Hobbs, I actually didn't do PR, I did buying, which was a big change for me. I never really had shown that much interest in being a buyer. Some of my friends are buyers now, like in the industry, and they love it. And I think it is a good job. Like people really enjoy it. I had a fun week there. And like obviously it was super fun because it was Christmas, so everyone was in like a joyful mood. Like all the team was so nice. Like I did actually have a really good time there, but it just confirmed for me that buying's not for me. But I didn't regret going and doing the week there because you learn that PR is like what I wanted to be in, and you still can like learn skills even if you're doing a role that you don't want to be in.
That's hilarious though, because when I did buying, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to turn into an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, there was a lot of spreadsheets.
I thought I was going to turn into, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't know how they sit there with such enthusiasm. I love it though, because I guess that's how they must look at other kind of careers in the industry. Think, I don't know how you sit there and do that for long.
They'll probably look at me when I was like, oh, I'd prefer being in PR. They're like, you're a crazy girl.
No, so after the buying, you said you were doing, sorry, what?
Yeah, so I did buying for a bit, confirmed for me that I don't want to be a buyer, but it was still a really, really, really good experience, which again, like, I'm grateful for. And then, so the same guest lecturer that I talked to, I have a really good connection with her now, and she's like a stylist. So she allowed me to come on like a VIP like shoot a music video with her for 2 days, just like helping with samples and things. So again, like that came from networking with her just at uni, not even at an internship. So that was really fun to see styling. And then obviously I went to like a modelling agency just to see like the different side of fashion that's actually nothing to do with like showrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like super fun as well. So I feel like I've thrown myself into lots of different roles, even though I've got the most experience in PR, which I really like. So.
Do you think fashion adventuring better prepared you for like your role as a Bottega PR and communications assistant? Because I always say that I'm so happy I got to proper put my feet in everything before I kind of committed to one thing. Because I always say it's so important that you love what you do, because some days are going to be days from hell.
Yeah,
especially in like the September times, the Christmas times when the retail year's ending. It's like it's going to be a lot. So do you think it better prepared you for your
for
times
sure.
at Bottega?
Like you said, like it allows you to do roles that you can appreciate other people's roles and things, if you know what I mean. Like after I'd done buying and stuff, the buyer, when I joined Bottega, like I appreciate his role because I could understand it, if you know what I mean.
I always say that. You know, you're in a team and it's like, I always used to be so kind of, I guess I'm about to diss myself kind of, but I always used to be so like one-headed kind of in a way where I not only respect the editor-in-chief, but you know when everyone else is saying things, you'd be like, yeah, but then the editor-in-chief says something, you're grabbing everything and you're doing it for her. When I went to go and intern with these different parts, because obviously you know that people don't fully understand every role.
Yeah.
When you actually understand what they do, I think there's a different type of like appreciation that you have for them, especially when it's like Christmas times and the buyers are need to put final orders through, things aren't shipping in properly. I just remember they'd be under such stress. I'm like, do you want a tea? Are you okay? Even though there's no help at all, I'm not going to offer to maybe sit there and do a spreadsheet with you because no. But I just feel like that really does make you have that appreciation.
You to see their role, and you gain like different skills in different like roles. So yeah, good experience.
So you are the former Bottega, so you're the ex. You say ex in the industry. I never used to understand it. I used to see in people's bios like ex Financial Times and I've been thinking, what's ex? But now I get it, like former. So you're the ex Bottega Veneta PR and communication assistant. That's massive. So congratulations for even getting that in the first place per se. But how did you go about doing that? Like you said it was through your school, but what was the procedures? Like how did that happen?
So my school allow you to take a year out, but I actually found it like myself.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I knew that I wanted to take a year out, so I started searching on LinkedIn jobs, making connections with people just online. Like we literally made friends like online.
Yeah,
like literally the same with, I was messaging talent teams like I said before. So obviously I saw Bottega being advertised, like I really wanted to work there, so I started applying. I applied probably in, I think it was maybe November time, and they didn't want us to start until July, so it was a long time before they like started recruiting people, if you know what I mean.
So that would be a good note. So you were currently in your second year when you
in
applied for it. So don't wait till summer.
No,
literally apply during the
like
year.
early, like especially if it's for like a placement year, like they sometimes shut before the year that you're actually going to do it in, so like get started early. So I applied like November time, while that was happening I was having interviews with like other companies and stuff, and then bit of a funny story, in the January I think it was, or maybe the early February, I got a decline email from Kering, from Bottega, being like, sorry, your CV's not passed, and I literally was like, oh my god, this can't be happening. Like,
I'd be distraught.
I was like, this is the brand that I want. So I was like, I can't deal with this right now. So I literally was like, I'm just going to email their head of HR. So I emailed their like talent team, and yeah, I sent her my CV, and I was just like, hi, here's my CV, like a little bit about myself. I don't think I told her I got declined. I just told her a bit about myself. Literally answered me like in the first hour, and I got an email call, I think it was, from their talent team at Kering, not related to Bottega, asking if I wanted to have a call, like FaceTime. So had a FaceTime with her, and then she invited me in to meet the PR managers, so obviously the people that I would be dealing and talking to with every day. And sort of doing the work for. So I came into the Old Bond Street office and had my in-person interview, literally super before COVID. I feel like 4 weeks later we went into lockdown. And then after that, I think I had 2 more online sort of interviews. And then end of February, maybe beginning of March, they told me that I got the role. So I feel like that story I tell everyone, because even though I was declined by them, I ended up being one of 2 that got the role. So it's just, and think how many people apply, like.
Yeah, literally, it would have been
so yeah, it was a long process.
So you mentioned getting in touch with the talent acquisition team. How did you go about finding the talent team? Because I didn't even know people did that. Like me, I'd normally look for the people that are at the head of the company, and I just kind of not guess their emails, but I kind of do a little playing around with the email and how it could be. How did you go about finding the talent acquisition team's emails?
Although I still connect on, I love LinkedIn so much that I think it's such a good platform. I've met so many people through LinkedIn, like in person as well. Like, I think it's a great platform. I messaged like PR managers, like PR assistants on there as well. But at the end of the day, I thought when I was applying, the people that will be dealing with your application are the talent team. So literally just looking up like Kering talent, searching for a few people, and again, like you guessing their emails, I was getting some rejection ones sometimes.
Yeah,
but
I love the fact that they tell you that this is not a real email. But like, okay, cool.
yeah,
so
if
not...
it wasn't, you're left in the dark a little bit, aren't you?
Like,
But
did they receive this? Do you think
yeah,
they received this?
no. So yeah, I literally just did that. Yeah.
You know what I'm a bit bad for? Whenever I get an email back, if I'm like waiting to hear back from them, you know how sometimes they'll put like their phone number at the bottom?
Yeah.
I'll like call the next week and be like, hi, this is Sharon. You spoke last week. Any update? And it's like, before I used to be so embarrassed about calling, but then I spoke to my mum. Mum was like, their number is there for you to call them. Like, if they're not answering to your email and you want an answer,
I feel
you
like at the
can.
end of the day, I was like that when I started messaging people on LinkedIn. But at the end of the day, the worst that they're going to say is no or ignore you. And so many other people are messaging them as well.
Yeah.
Why don't you? Like...
Yeah. I always like, especially on that point, that so many other people are messaging you. So I think it's important that you give that kind of information that makes you stand out. Like, you know how you said that you say personal things, that you stalk them so you know kind of what's going on in their lives and stuff like that. Obviously, social media is what they want you to see. So saying things that they've put in their social media to show you're engaged with them, to put you on that edge. Because how many people do you think message them, hi, I'd love to work with you, full stop. Showing that you're kind of interested in them as a person and their brand and what they do, it kind of puts you ahead in that sense as well.
Yeah, literally, like, I think if they say no, okay, the opportunity, whatever, it's fine. Like, at least you know now, do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So obviously, Bottega is an iconic brand. You know, Daniel Lee did an amazing job as a creative director there. But your role as a PR and communications assistant, talk us through a day in your life. What would it be, kind of?
So obviously in PR, like, every day is similar in the way for a PR intern that you have to do your role, but at the same time it is different. Like, sometimes I would go in, the first thing that I would do is check for urgent emails, flag anything that needs to be done ASAP. So obviously with Bottega being an Italian brand, Milan are a bit ahead of us in like time zones, so they'd be up and raring to go for the day before us. So just basically getting back to urgent things, flagging. I feel like in PR you need to be super organised, so I go in, put everything in the email folders that needed to be done, sort anything that needed to be done, and then got on with doing like send outs. So send outs we would do every day to send in for like stylist call-ins, VIP shoots, things like that, or if something needed to go directly that day to like a shoot. So for example, if you've got a super popular look and you need to share it over like 2 days for 3 different stylists, like, it's crazy. Like, you need to send it out urgently. So yeah, I would get on with doing send outs, just kind of organising the showroom. Then the rest of the day dealing with, my role was to take in the request and coordinate the looks from the lookbook to different publications, basically. So that's what I spent a lot of my day doing any extra like projects. Like, we did quite a lot of gifting, which was like super fun, but super stressful as well. So yeah, doing that. Coverage is a big thing as well, looking at what publications we've been in, talking a lot with like editors all day on the phone, or emailing people. So yeah, it's a lot of emails, a lot of chatting, but yeah.
Oh, that's so funny that you say that. I remember when I was a PR intern, I spent like a whole day finding press coverage, like clipping, print, and online. Clipping, print, and online.
Yeah, DMR, like,
yeah,
using things like to find like everything.
Fashion GPS,
super big.
I love that though. I love it. I feel like it just makes so much sense. Whoever designed that is, you're a godsend.
It's super good. It is like a very organised system to keep all your samples where you need them to be.
Okay, so PR and kind of being with Bottega, PR is all about how you get your brand out there, the awareness that you bring with the brand, the kind of status of the brand.
Yeah.
And obviously being with a company as iconic as Bottega Veneta, how like would you more... What kind of campaigns were your favourites? Because obviously there's so many celebrities that have been seen in it. Like Hailey Bieber wears Bottega. Everyone wears Bottega pretty much. But, you know, you've got Rihanna, Burna Boy, etc. All these people in it. So what was your favourite campaign, or like what's your favourite thing that they've done that you've been kind of a part of?
There was like a lot, even though my year was the COVID year. It was a shame because that we couldn't really go to events and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like a big like shame considering you're in PR. But at the same time, we had so many good opportunities. For me, I loved dealing with like VIP things, like if a talent was going to end up wearing something on like a front cover. I really liked working with like talents.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really fun. And working for like special shoots. So if it's like a full 8 pages of Bottega, that was definitely stressful and fun because one, you needed to get way more samples and looks than you needed to the shoot.
Yeah, because the stylist might decide on the day that she doesn't want to use those ones anymore.
Yeah, so yeah, you need a lot of looks that a lot of people want at the same time to go to one shoot. So although that was super stressful, I feel like the stress when the like publication comes out and you actually see it is like super worth it.
This was all worth it.
Yeah, so one of my favourite experiences was definitely the Day's cover. It was my favourite editorials, and I think it was shot in New York, so it took a lot to get there, Brexit and everything as well, so...
The shipping companies,
No,
with this whole
don't
Brexit
even.
thing, FedEx.
FedEx.
I was on the phone to
yeah.
UPS for maybe 2 hours. And
Oh
you
my
know, it's
God,
because of the
don't.
time
I
zone.
can't deal with UPS. FedEx are kind of helpful sometimes. I used to be friends with some of the people on the phone. I was like, it's me again, people from Bottega.
No, the time zone as well. I'd always be the first one off because you know how like they're 5 hours behind us, like New York and places like that. So it's like I'd call. It'd be like 5 p.m. here. The FedEx or UPS office in America has just opened an hour ago. I'm on their phone.
Yeah.
They're waiting.
Seriously.
Who cares about the roaming charges? That's not important.
Yeah.
the money is not important. That package needs to move and it needs to move
No,
now.
you should have heard some of the conversations with me. I was like, I don't care. I was like, it needs to be there. They're like, is it urgent? Is it like what is the problem with the box? And I was like, it needs to go to a photo shoot and it's super urgent. The guy just didn't understand the urgency across the phone, but I feel like that's the life of a PR, getting it to a stylist.
Sometimes you have to name drop though.
Yeah.
I'm with Bottega Veneta. Like, I will call your manager.
No, yeah, super stressful. But yeah, so Day's cover was super fun when it came out because I loved the editorials and everything. Also, like we had our Salon 01 show, so that was like an event that did happen. So I stayed at the office and was literally organising the whole showroom, sending samples out. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, who I love, she attended it, and I sent her samples literally like 2 hours or something before we went, and she ended up wearing the look. So when I saw it in the press the next day, my mum was sending it, she was like, is this the look you sent her? And I was like, yeah. Like, I literally... like, it's good when you see stuff comes out when it's all, like, finally happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a lot of good experiences, but, yeah.
So every assistant kind of has their nightmare story. I have my fair share that, you know, later we will share. But have you had any kind of, like, really stressful, hard days? Because fashion is glamorous, but it's also got its moments. Have you had, like, any nightmare experiences?
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that people coming into the industry need to realise. Like, so many people want to be in fashion. And don't get me wrong, like, it's a super fun industry, but it's, like, glamorised so much as well. Like, people think you probably sit there all day and, like, you're a PR, like, you go to events and stuff, but it is super difficult as well. Like,
I was with a brand and someone once asked me, so do they give you free clothes? I'm thinking, I wish. I wish. You might just get where you'll go to an event. They might tell you to wear one of their bags because, you know, let's do some more publicity, but it's not as...
Yeah, so I feel like that is something people need to remember. But, yeah, of course, like, there were so many crazy moments. Like, there was times where I, like, for shoots, I'd sent things to their call-in, and then a stylist that wants to change the looks, or maybe the idea of the shoot changes, which is, like, super exciting to see what's going to come out when it does. But at the time, you're like, oh, my gosh, and considering so many brands maybe want certain looks, it's, like, really difficult to coordinate and sort. So, yeah, there was a time where I sent a lot of looks to a magazine, and last minute, like a few hours before the shoot, we had to change it. So I had to sort all of that. I literally was running up and down the store. I literally probably looked like a headless chicken.
Wait, did the things not fit him? The person that was on the cover, did the things not fit the person? Why were you running around
sometimes
stores?
sizing issues,
Okay,
yeah. But also sometimes it's just like a change of the creative direction and they want different looks. But yeah, sometimes sizing is also like a major issue, especially if it's like talent and stuff.
So is it sample things that Bottega would send, or would they send actual product?
So we had our showroom in London,
Okay.
which had like a lot of the collection, but Milan obviously had more. So sometimes we had to get things sent over from them. But that was like samples. So yeah.
So how do you think you coped with the stressful times? Because obviously it's a lot, and you know you can't cry. There's no time to cry. Like, you know, maybe take your 5 minutes, but there's no time to cry, especially when things are really fast paced. You know, you've got them certain points in the year that are fashion months. Like, you know, in this month we are all guns blazing. So how did you cope with those stressful times?
Do you know what? I feel like I'm still learning that question a lot. I literally get so stressed out sometimes about things, but that is what I learned most at Bottega. Like, the girl that walked into Bottega and when I finished my internship was literally two different people. Obviously, I was there for a year, and in the grand scheme of things, a year isn't that long. But I learned so much while I was there, so much how to control my workload, control my time management, control my prioritization. And if you work on making your skills the best you can and trying to make yourself the best you can in your role, I feel like it can help to limit the stress. But there is always going to be times, I guess, that are going to be stressful either way, and you've just got to get your head down and deal with it.
Yeah,
So
that's really good. Like, even I'm going to take that one. Yeah, because I completely agree with you. Like, going into places and coming out of them, I just realized I'm so much more resilient. I'm so much more strong-headed. Like, when I know something's right, I know it's right. And even though it's important to be able to adapt and change, knowing that you have that kind of confidence in yourself, even being, because, we're kind of like starting out, like really starting out after the internship thing. So it's like you might have that still little voice in your head that like, I'm still an intern, but like you need to realize you're not an intern. They've hired you based on your experience and the things that you know.
It's super important to remember that they've hired you at the end of the day, and you just need to give it your best shot. And like, sometimes I think even if you're in your role and you've just made a decision and you're not the most confident in the world, you just need to put on a front and just be confident.
Fake it till you make it.
Literally.
So PR and publications have like a really close link. Like, I know PR and journalists basically are hand in hand. Like, a lot of PR people, they spend their breakfasts with journalists because, public relations, publications.
Yeah.
In terms of features and things, did you always was it you would send things out to journalists, or did journalists more contact you? How does that side of things work? Because I've always wondered.
Yeah, so, well, speaking on behalf of Bottega, obviously Bottega is like pretty big brand now, so it was a lot of us getting sent requests from people and having to kind of like filter through the requests and things. So yeah, it was a lot of just getting back to people, which was like really good, because when I was at other sort of smaller companies, although I wasn't having as much responsibility, we were sending things out more to people as well.
Yeah.
So it's been quite nice in my short career so far to see like both sides of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, this podcast is all about obviously understanding what it is you do and kind of giving like a good intellectual expertise on how it is you kind of do what you do. So speaking on campaigns, it's a great lead into my Drab or Fab feature, which if you're new to the podcast, Drab or Fab is when me and my guests, so Eva today, will speak about like looks we've seen, because you have to, working in fashion, you have to be up to date. Like, I feel like in all my interviews I've ever been asked, what fashion publications do you read, or where do you look,
or like
to get your
news or stuff like that. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, before interviews, I feel like you need to be super knowledged up,
like research
on the company, on their values, on the industry, on your role, and just news that's happening. So yeah.
So obviously in the Drab or Fab feature, we speak about looks that we've seen and things that we've liked, and I feel like Euphoria is all the rage right now. Do you watch it?
Since we spoke about it recently, like a few weeks ago, I have slowly started to watch it, which is quite bad of me, because I feel like when you're in PR, like, you want to be up to date with everything.
That's your job.
Yeah, literally.
That's your job.
Literally your job. So you need to be up to date with everything, like looking at upcoming and new talent. But yeah, so I've started it. I need to get more into it, but it's literally everywhere now. Like, I feel like you can't miss it
at all. Like, I remember I'll be reading articles about it, like articles about characters and things like that.
Every person has done an article on it.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just that. So wait, I haven't even explained what Euphoria is. So if you don't watch it, Euphoria is like, I think it's like I don't want to say like is it a documentation of like different teenage lives? Like, it's like a group of teenagers discovering their like sexuality, their like who they are. Because obviously being a teenager is a very confusing time. Like, so many questions pass through your head and stuff like that. I'm not even describing it very well. I feel so bad, but it's like you're following the journey of like teenagers that are like navigating their way through the world and like becoming who they are and like finding their identities basically.
Yeah.
So obviously, pun intended, the Drab or Fab features, like, what did you find drab and what did you find fab, like fabulous,
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, you get the name. So, do you want to go first or should I go first?
You go first.
I'll go first. Okay, so I think my fabulous would have to be Maddie.
Yeah.
Only because she's like my spirit animal. She's what I wish I could dress like. Like,
Yeah.
they had this carnival scene maybe in season 1.
Yeah.
Where she kind of wore this cutout thing from IMGR.
Yeah.
And like the side of her leg was out, and then like all her chest was out. And I find things like that so gorgeous, because obviously it's embracing the female body.
And I feel like that braces her character so well. Her style is literally just like her character.
Yeah, like literally naughty but nice.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get from Maddie.
No, I agree. She's my fab as well. Is it fab?
Yeah, who's your fab?
Yeah, like even like being an outsider before even watching the show, like I feel like she's the face of the fashion
she's
of the
what
show
I'd
a little
see
bit.
a
Like
lot.
I saw her picture everywhere on literally every platform I went onto, Instagram, everything, like her black cutout dress. I think she wore it for the New
Year's party.
Yeah, so good. I thought that was such a good look.
It even reminds me of this whole like Y2K thing that everyone's kind of doing with the whole. I think that's what they took inspiration from, kind of like that more current time, because obviously these are teenagers in current days, like having current issues that most teenagers would face. Like I think a lot of the clothes were from IMGR, and IMGR is a rocking brand. You know, they embrace the female body, like showing that you should show it off. Obviously, I'm just not that confident yet, but hopefully one day I will be, to be able to rock Maddie looks.
Sure.
And I think my drab would have to be like Cassie, only because she's who I resonate the most with, which is so sad. But like she just dresses really kind of like casual, you know. She, apart from her Halloween look, which was kind of like the bra bustier and kind of stuff like that. But Halloween is the day that you're meant to kind of be somebody else, like you dress up as somebody else. But like her normal looks, they're kind of like what I'd kind of wear. So it's just like, you know, it's just normal for me.
Yeah,
kind of.
obviously, like before, when we were talking about before this podcast, obviously I was researching everyone's styles and things, and going back to just like the fashion in the show, like the Independent did like such a cool article saying it's like, going back to Y2K again, it's so simple to like Gen Z, like how they're embracing everything. So I feel like that's why the show is like super popular at the minute. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm not too keen on her style as much, but
I feel like Zendaya's style in the show is just so different to what I see her in every day. Like I feel like Zendaya's such an amazing actor.
Actress.
Actress. Yeah, she's so amazing.
Much. She's just like, everything she does, I'm just like, I love you.
I'm not even up to date on the Euphoria series, I'm sure.
Well, this is me as well. Like, I'm just slowly getting into it. I feel like I'm behind the hype of everyone else.
I find it, you know, I don't know if I'm a little wuss, but I find the parts of it so scary. Like when Rue or Zendaya is taking drugs, I'm just like, I can't watch. I think Fezco was like beating the Nate man up, and I was like, I can't watch this. I have to stop.
An intense viewing, for sure.
Yeah, I have to stop. Like it takes me like 4 days to watch one episode, because I'll stop so many times. But obviously, you've been in PR. It must be so cool to see kind of them wearing clothes from companies, because you might be thinking in your head, oh, that's a good PR move. Like for a company that's up and coming, like Wolf and Almighty, a lot of their clothes are featured in the series.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an amazing PR move on behalf of Wolf and Almighty, because putting such a popping show in your clothes, that would be a PR move.
Yeah,
right?
like this is why I like PR, because there's just so many different things that can come with it, and I think it's really exciting when you get opportunities for brands that can be in things that aren't just like online publications or print publications. Like it is really exciting where your brand can end up. So yeah.
Did you ever have like famous people like reaching out to you because you'd managed the kind of thing, like about like them wanting to wear a look or something like that?
Yeah, so not necessarily the talent themselves, but more like their stylist.
Yeah.
So obviously like that's why I again like love PR, because there's like stylists that you see that you think, oh my god, they're like so cool and stuff, then the next day they're in your inbox. So yeah, no, it is cool, and it's nice seeing like opportunities that talent come up and they've maybe said to the stylist, oh, I want to wear this brand or something. So yeah, no, it is like really good.
So obviously you've kind of shown us what doing PR is, and I think you've given such an amazing explanation of what it is, so thank you so much, because I've kind of gotten so much of a clearer idea of what it is. But for those people that are like starting out, what's like one tip you would give to like getting into it and like staying in it and kind of stuff like that?
I think one would be take any situation with a pinch of salt, especially in crazy situations. Like you're going to be stressed, your team might be stressed. Like just deal with every situation with a pinch of salt, if you know what I mean. And I know you said one tip, but I'm going to give two.
Yeah, give as many as we can.
I think this isn't when you're in a role, this is when you're looking for a role. Like Rejection is fine, and I always say like rejection is literally redirection. Like there's been so many opportunities that I've not got, and at the time like I'm super sad about it, but don't take it personally, and every opportunity that comes I honestly believe will be like made for you. So yeah.
Okay, and let's throw it back to the start of your career. What is something you wish you would have known before you kind of delved into the PR side of things? Like, what's one thing or something you think you would have known? You wish you would have known, per se, yeah.
How long hours are in fashion.
9 to 6 is not a thing in the fashion industry.
No, I think you come like again like glamorized. Like I think you come into, but I feel like this is in like a lot of industries as well. Like fashion's like known for it, I guess, because like Devil Wears Prada, like all these sort of films and documentaries and stuff. But you have to work hard. Like you can't just go into a role and not work hard. Like you do have to put your all into your job, and I think that's why it needs to be really important that you're going into a job role and a sector that you're passionate about, because if you're not, you're just not going to be able to live and survive.
But I feel like what's so nice, especially with the fashion industry, because obviously it's like, you know, you've got the beauty standards, things are really changing, and especially with the work-life balance, I feel like more employers are starting to be a lot more
For
kind
sure.
of compassionate about knowing that people have their mental health things
especially
going
when
on.
you are like an intern, like they understand that you're at the beginning of your career, and there's been places, and at Bottega as well, where there's been things that I don't know how to do, and if I make a mistake, my managers have been like, okay, fine, like you're literally a student, and just make sure not to make the mistake again, like just learn from it. At the end of the day, you are young and these things are going to happen, so I feel like just don't beat yourself down about anything bad.
Yeah, and I feel like when there is like, you will have your employers or someone like that snap. Like in fashion, people do snap a lot. I feel like one thing to do is like not take it too personally. They're not snapping at you personally. They're snapping about the situation, the fact that, because a lot of these huge companies, you think they have so many members of staff, when really the workload, it's like you can have all the staff in the world, but the workload is so intense that it's like, it doesn't even matter if you have 5,000 staff, because everyone's doing so much in their own kind of thing. Like you probably would have felt that at Bottega, even though you were an assistant, there were so many people like probably above you. You said you had like a lot of responsibilities that were yours.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Bottega, was because I went into it and it's not just like an internship where you're making the coffees or something, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you get to really be in the atmosphere of the brand, and that's why I enjoyed my year there, because I learnt a lot because I was doing a lot.
Yeah. Well, Eva, you've given so much amazing advice. I'm so grateful for you taking the time to come and talk to me. I feel like I've learnt so much, even just talking to you, that I kind of didn't know before, but that's really nice to know and have a light shone. Is it a light shone on?
Light shone on, yeah.
Yeah, like have a light shone on. Obviously, PR isn't one of those fashion jobs that I'll put out there like how a designer or a stylist is, but it's also a job that's very rewarding. Like I feel like fashion PR is a rewarding job. What do you think so too?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like whatever job you're in, like you'll find a way to find it rewarding. Like
fulfilling.
Like stylists will find their work rewarding when they see it, but PR also see it when they see their work.
Because I feel like even though you guys are behind the scenes, it's like you made that happen. I ran so this magazine could literally and figuratively speaking, I guess.
I feel like in a big picture, there's lots of people involved.
Yeah.
So even when you are a little intern and you're maybe just on the side of the picture, you are still playing a part in it.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
But yes, you've given so much amazing advice. Thank you so much, Eva, for taking the time to talk. I hope that whoever's listening has gained some tips and learnt something, and maybe like seen something else that'd be interesting in pursuing, because you are allowed to fashion adventure. Like you can take the time to explore what this is like.
For sure.
Yeah. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to listen, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Style Report. Love, Sharon.